Okay, so we're recording our New Year's Zoom. We have a very special guest with us tonight, my mama, the queen bee if it works, Miss Pam Sowder. Mom, thanks for being on.
Happy New Year, 2019. That's all we heard today was 2019. So it's going to be a fabulous year.
I have such amazing vibes about this year. I can't help but be excited. My husband's like asking me on dates now because I've been like just on my phone and on my computer and answering these questions and helping people get started in this business because, Mom, I've been prepping the team. I've been letting them know that it's like once January 1st starts, it's like your phone just starts buzzing. People are thinking about their New Year's resolutions and their fitness goals, their weight loss goals. And aren't we the same way? Aren't we the same way? We're thinking about how we want our body to look. I told our trainer, I'm like, you got to have me looking awesome by March for our trip to Miami. I mean, you've got the best insight because you're corporate and you're an owner and you've been a part of It Works for 18 years. You started the company. And prior to that, we were talking about this earlier, for 6 years, you were part of another direct sales company. So for over 20 years, you've been in the industry.
Ever since I was 7.
I was 7 years old, you guys. I'm 31. Think about that. I grew up in this industry, and every time this year it's cyclical. Like this is a boom season for the industry, and we've got an upper hand because of our products. Fit lifestyle, fit weight loss, fit all those goals. So what insight can you add before we start answering our questions about this time of year and how special it is?
I hope that by the end of this Zoom, you'll carry this conversation through not just this month, but every month. And, I want all of you to think about this past year, 2018, and it was so last minute. It just seems like it was a minute ago, but it is the past. It's something we went through, and some of us achieved what we wanted and some of us didn't. And some areas we did and some areas we didn't. And some of you are going, wow, that was just like another year, just like the year before and the year before. So we've got to make the conscious decisions to change and to grow and to evolve. And it is a very conscious decision. It is one that is made daily. Like I found myself in the refrigerator unconscious today. Just went in and opened it up and we started looking. I'm like, I'm not even hungry.
Interesting.
I was just totally unconscious, totally habitual, just going in there because it was mindless and I caught myself. And so that's what I'm doing this year. I'm being very conscious. And last year and every year I have a word, and my word this year is being conscious, which means not unconscious, the totally opposite. And so what am I doing? Where are my thoughts? What am I physically doing? What am I thinking? All of that is being very, very conscious, because you'll also find yourself aimlessly going down those thoughts of lack, thoughts of negativity. And when we think about mostly what we think of during the day, it's not in what we want, it's what we don't want. So it's all about being conscious, Kaye. My new word for 2019, I saved it for this Zoom tonight. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like we walk around, and some of you are like first even hearing about this, and we're going to get to dive deeper into this later tonight. Not even aware of your thoughts. Mm-hmm. And, I look back at my year of 2018, and I don't know if you guys saw, hopefully you all saw our stats, just how incredible our year was as a team. We had $4.5 million in sales for the whole year. 17,000 new customers that were added to our team in 2018. 4,500 or 4,700 new distributors joined our team in 2018. Like, I know without a shadow of a doubt that we will double that number this year. We will absolutely double that number. That is that and some. I just know. I know because I'm consciously active in my business. And I can honestly tell you that I did not start 2018 consciously active in my business. I kind of felt all over the place. I felt like I didn't even really know what my why was anymore. And I've talked so openly with all of you about that in the past. Some of you are brand new and you're hearing these things for the first time, but 10 years in this business, I kind of had to reevaluate who I am and where I'm going and what my why is, and really so fall deeply in love with what this opportunity gives, not only ourselves, but all of you and each one of you that I talked to before you joined, that I personally enrolled, and just how special this opportunity is. When I became conscious in my business and I listened to a quote on a Tony Robbins podcast the other day, and he said, discipline weighs ounces compared to regret, which weighs tons. And I didn't want to have any regrets in my business anymore. Those days where I go, what did I even do today? I wanted to consciously sit down and map out what my business was going to look like, and how many people I talked to, and how many messages I got out, and how many people I actually handed a blitz card to, and how many people I connected with on a daily basis. I had to actually make the decision that I was going to do those things. And my entire business started turning around when I became more disciplined in my approach. And for some of you, that might seem so boring, but there's no way we could possibly get where we want to go without discipline. Like your body, Mom. We were talking about that today. I was listening to that podcast with you and Howard, and you were like, when I made the decision to transform my body transformed because I consistently acted upon the transformation. You can't just show up at the gym. I saw that 2 weeks, taking off 2 weeks for the holidays. You can't just show up at the gym every once in a while and expect amazing results. You have to be consistent. And so I just wanted to share that with you as we lead into these questions about just the discipline that it takes, and consciously that the decisions we have to make to be successful. And it works. And in anything we do, you can't just read one page of a book. You read the whole book. That's how you read the book. And so we're in the early stages of the chapters of our book for this year, and we get to decide how it's written. So how do you want this time next year to look? How do you want it to look? What things do you want to be proud of? What do you want to accomplish? You have to decide these things. They don't just happen for you. You decide, and the inspiration comes, but you've got to act. And so anything you'd like to add to that, Mom, before we dive into our questions?
Because, we're so visual, and we're actually getting it together tomorrow for our vision boards. And, I just got a new car, and I was talking earlier about I had that on my vision board for 3 years until I felt comfortable getting it, which is kind of odd. I mean, you would think that I wouldn't question or hesitate that. But I just heard something that just so resonated with me, because we are visual, and that is pick out a new frame and put a new picture in it. And I think that's so powerful. What picture do you want in your frame? And when I think about what kind of frame I even want, I mean, is it just a battered up frame, or is it a beautiful frame? And is it gold? Is it silver? Is it farmhouse? What kind of frame do you want? Because this is framing your world, your life, your year, your 2019 year. And I just think that that is so powerful. And then what picture or pictures are you putting within that frame? And this is how you create that vision board. And what you put in there, I truly believe, because everything I've ever put on a vision board, I have received. Every single thing. So when I started studying personal development and consciousness and awareness, I kept going back to the phrase, ask and it is given. And I just put a quote out there recently, ask and it is given, and then the subtitle is, and there's nothing in the middle. So what does that mean? In that biblical, strong phrase is so much wisdom. Ask and it is given. So there's nothing in the middle of that. It doesn't say ask and then go do 10 push-ups because you asked. It is already given. So, but wait a minute, don't I have to do the push-ups? So I'm asking for a better feeling in my body. I'm asking for more strength, more power. I want it to be slim. I want it to be vibrant. I want it to be physically attractive, which helps me be mentally attractive. I want all of these things. I don't want any more fat on my back. We talked about that today, Kaye. All right, so I've asked for that, and it is given. Now, here's the thought behind that. It's given. I've asked. I don't have to do anything to receive that, but I will want to. I will be inspired to, because this is what happens. A lot of you ask, and it is given, but then you start down the path of disrespecting the ask. You start down the path of disbelieving. You start down the path of not honoring it. You start down the path of immediately asking how. See, what you do is you just start. You're so inspired because you know it is given. I know that I can be more powerful by the end of 2019. I know that I can feel better and look better because I've asked for it. So now I get up inspired. I get up and I go to the refrigerator and I become conscious and not unconscious because I'm inspired. So you ask to double your business. It is given. You could ask for the triple. You could ask to quadruple it. No one said limit. No one said, oh, you can't get that car. Oh, you can't have that house. Oh, you can't have that pay raise. So ask and it is given. So you're double. You want to go triple. Ask for prez. Ask for prez for the end of the year. But Pam, how? It is given. Get up and you know it's given. You're so inspired. You're talking to people. You attract people that you normally didn't because you've already asked. You know it's given. You start the conversations. You're asking more. Your posts are more alive. They're not dead posts. They're not, well, I'm not going to get it, but I'll post something today. No, even a post that's not working for anyone else is working for you because your energy is all over it. Your energy of it is given, it is done. I know that I know that I know that I know. Done. Given. So we can just take off on this Zoom now and go start asking.
I feel like what happens, what I've learned about this topic is what happens is we ask, we put out there what we want, and then we sit. We don't pick up the phone and call that person when we get that intuitive nudge. We don't send that text message when we start letting fear come in. We don't send out that message on Instagram.
Because you don't believe it's given.
Because you don't believe it.
You don't believe that it's given. You think that you got to do all this stuff that's not fun or inspiring, and it's hard, and it's not going to happen. And it's how do I do this? And when it's already given, if you already knew that you were going to get that, how would you act? Now, think about that, how you would act. You would act like you would walk in such knowingness that your walk would change. Your whole attitude would change. Your post would change. When we have this guest come on later, there was one thing that we talked about on our podcast that just the way he said it came through the Zoom so alive, and I can't wait to discuss that, Kay. But let's get to your questions because you and I can sit here and chat all day.
All right. I'm going down the list, you guys. This is in the order you asked. Why do you feel like a lot of people get to a certain rank and then never rank up again?
Because they don't ask. They sit down. They get complacent. They think it's going to take over on its own. Same like gaining all your weight back. Well, I lost it. I'm there. Yeah, but you know what? You got to keep moving. You got to keep going. No one in any endeavor, whatever it is, well, I birthed the baby. Why can't it take care of itself? I mean, it's the same thing. I birthed you. Go ahead. Eat. Poop. Change your diaper. You know, that baby will be with you for the rest of your life. So this business, you are birthing. You are birthing. You signed up and you're giving it energy, love, and attention, and you get to diamond. And then you take away the love, the attention, and the energy, and it's going backwards. And you wonder what happened. How did your team even know you sat down? Because your energy, your love, and your attention is not there anymore. Think about this in your marriage. Mm-hmm. If you did that in your marriage or with your boyfriend or your girlfriends, if you don't honor and love your friends and pay attention, they're going to go away. They're going to find new friends. Nothing in life is just given and it runs on its own. That is a ridiculous thought. It's not common sense. And we all know it. So we get to diamond and we don't rank up for a couple reasons. We think that's it. That's all we can do. That's all we're made for. When who told you that? Yourself. You know, who limited you? No one. I'm telling you, we haven't. Mm-hmm. We've created extra positions for people that have reached ambassador. Now they can get a 2.0. They can rebuild again. Why? Because we constantly need to be creating. We are creators. That's who we are. That's how we're wired. That's how we're designed. That's why you see billionaires go create more billions. Because if they sit down, they're going to die. Mm-hmm. And they know it. Most people, 6 months after retirement, croak. It's because they're not creating anymore. Mm-hmm. They're not alive. And you feel the death over your business. Mm-hmm. You feel it. That's what feels bad. You know what you miss? You miss the excitement, the exuberance of building. It feels like death. It feels like dying. And so you're like, Pam, I want that feeling again. Well, get up and move. The inspiration follows it follows the action. It's not the other way around. You have to get up and take the action, and then the inspiration comes. Get up and go, whether you feel like it or not. Just get up and start moving and start talking and start asking. You kind of get in the groove. You know, every time I do a presentation or a talk, I'm inspiring me. Yeah, I get inspired. I get juiced and jazzed. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, I need to do this again. I need to talk about this again. I want to be this again. And so that's what it is, Kay. It's a complacency, a set down. It's fear. Is there more for me? It's stop doing the work. And so realize in life, in order to receive more, you've got to give. It's not the other way around. In order to receive more, you've got to give. And the way that you give is by doing, getting up and loving on that team, praying over your team? What is your advertisement over your team? Are you getting up every day and saying, my team sucks? My team doesn't work? No one on my team is working. I can't get anybody to get a customer. I can't even get a customer. Well, that is your advertisement going out into the world. And obviously, no one wants to come into that. But if you get up, just do this one thing. As soon as we get off the Zoom, you start praying over your team and advertising over your. I got a team. You know what? I got girls that do care. I got guys that do care. I have customers that are buying. Even if it's one. Do you know that if you've got one person on your team that's moving in the right direction, you're better off than the person that doesn't? So you start praying over that person, praying over your team. And what do I mean by prayer? Prayer to me is this thoughtful giving. It's loving back. Whether it's not a biblical prayer. Prayer is just giving affirmations. It's giving thoughts in the right direction. And so there goes your advertisement. Here's mine. Do you think that I never call people and say, are you motivated? I never do that. Kaye, are you motivated? I don't do that. This is what I do. My team rocks. My team is moving in the right direction. My team is building. My team is growing. My team is bringing on rock stars. My team is gathering a tremendous amount of customers, a tremendous amount of distributors. We are going and growing in the right direction. Everybody wants to know about It Works. Everybody, everywhere I go, people ask me, what do you do? They do, don't they? What do you do? I'm like, I could have on grub clothes. I don't even have on what do you do? Because they know I'm doing something, because they can feel it and they can sense it, because I'm putting it out there and I'm putting it out there and I'm putting it out there, and it's coming back and it's coming back and it's coming back. So go big, huge. Decide. When a woman makes up her mind, watch out. I know that because when I make up my mind, watch out. It is done. And so what do? I get up, I'm inspired. That's the best advice that I can give you right now is, what are you advertising over your team? What kind of team do you have? And at first it might not feel like it's true, but you do have people on your team working. You do have people on your team that care. You do have an upline that pours constantly into you and your team. You are partnered with a phenomenal company. You have incredible products. You have an unlimited opportunity to make unlimited money. You can work spare time, part-time, full-time, all the time. You work all the time. Nobody's saying don't work all the time. Nobody's saying nobody's saying work spare time. Work anytime. Work your time. This is your business. You get a 1099. You're an owner. It's willable. It's sellable. Honor it. Fall in love with it. Fall in love with it. Even if you're scared, fall in love with it.
Whew. Yeah.
We got it going tonight.
Yes, for the record, she has never called me and said, are you motivated? If you could recommend one book to every leader, what would it be?
All right, the one I just read, because I think it's so relevant for today. Let me get it right here. I just think it's so relevant for today because we're building our own personal brand, and it's building a story brand. I think it's just so awesome. It's by Donald Miller. You know, it just inspired the heck out of me, and I just got a new one, and I'll talk about it later. But I love Seth Godin, and I just got that one, but I haven't read it. But this one, you know, the first book. And I read that this is what Tony Robbins read when he first started being Tony. The Magic of Believing. An old book. The magic of believing. So that made me think back when I first got started in the industry. That's the book that got me on fire. So that's more of a personal development book. This is more of how do I get me out there in the marketplace. Brilliant. Very good.
Some really great. There was a really great leadership in that book. The Building Your Story brand actually just got Scott's like, what are all these books coming in from Amazon and just bought gifts for some amazing people in our life, and that is one of them. And you said that, you know, one thing you took away from that is it's about the people.
Yeah,
it's about the people.
Oh, you know what? I love this because he talks about who the hero is, and you are the hero. And your distributors and customers are the hero. And if you try to be the hero, then you're going to get in some trouble, basically, because then it becomes all about you. Think about Cinderella had the fairy godmother. You know, you be the fairy godmother. That's who you be. You be the fairy godmother, and every one of your distributors are the Cinderellas. Oh, your business will explode if you get that concept. Yeah, it's just like in Star Wars, they had the Jedi, you know, but Luke was the hero. He let Luke be the hero. And he could have easily been the hero. But think about the guy that starts out as the mentor and then tries to take over all the power. He then becomes the villain. You don't want to be the villain. Unfortunately, we don't need to be the star of our own business. Everyone else needs to be. And I love that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So good. What are your non-negotiables?
Oh, no bullshit. I don't like it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What are your
you know, it's like, let's be real, authentic. You know, be who we are, embrace it, because we all have tremendous gifts. Every single one of us have been given gifts, and we need to honor those gifts. And if you don't know what yours are, think back when you were little. What did you do? What did you play? What turned you on at 4, 5, and 6, and 7? And sometimes we lose that because we're listening to everyone else. But if you can find that in really internal you and who you really are and what you are passionate and what you love, and you can tell when you're not being you. It is like pulling teeth. It is grinding. It is not authentic. It's you're playing a game. So no games, no bull, be authentic. And you can tell when someone's not, you know, just tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. So non-negotiables are untruths, the bull, you know what, Kay, I'm not going to work with anyone that's not going to beyond $1 billion, because I have a responsibility.
Yeah.
I have a responsibility to It Works. I have a responsibility to you. I have a responsibility to Mark and our corporate staff, that we are building an incredible, dynamic company, and we want to build it correctly and with people that are willing to step up. And I hope that's all of you, that you're willing to step up and that we build. And so, well, what's in it for you? The ability to totally and boldly change your life and those around you. And that's a big responsibility. And that's what we're doing this year. And so that's my non-negotiables.
Wow, amazing. And the mom, our
food. I'm not going to eat the wrong food.
Mom, our guest is on.
All right. Oh my gosh, I'm ready. I got my notepad.
Oh, this is going to be good. Okay, so you guys, I'm so honored and excited to have one of my mentors in life and business, Howard Falco, is on with us tonight. Howard and Mom just launched a podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I did post it on our Living Legendary page, and it is phenomenal. And Howard, thank you so much for being on. I know you're here and you're unmuted already.
Sure. Yeah. I'm thrilled to be here. It's awesome. Thanks for having me on.
First of all, like, thank you for getting on and being on with our team. Like,
sure.
Like that. You're incredible.
No problem at all. It's really my pleasure. And it's fun to be on. Love doing these.
Oh, this is going to be great. So Howard, I'm going to let Mom kind of lead into this question. You two just recorded a phenomenal podcast.
I want to ask Howard, what's his non-negotiable?
Yeah, Howard.
You're on the spot.
Non-negotiables for what? What are we talking about? Business?
Life, business. What is one of your non-negotiables for success? What is something that no matter what, you stick to, something that you're not willing to compromise to make your dreams come true?
I would say humility, the ability to self-reflect and be able to look at the truth, not the truth that I think it, but also other people's truths, so that I can be better in sync with what their truth is, so I can meet them where they're at. So it's really important that for me that I stay in humility.
Yeah.
So that's a non-negotiable.
If you guys don't know Howard, some of you are brand new to our team. Howard has written 2 books so far. One is I Am, The Power of Discovering Who You Truly Are. I said that right, Howard, right?
Yeah.
I even have an I Am tattoo because of Howard, you guys. And there it is. And then Time in a Bottle. Time in a Bottle was his second book. And if you haven't read these, they're so amazing for you just in this growth of personal development, discovering your true self and your worth and knowing what you're capable of creating. More insight is on the podcast with Mom and Howard too, just to give you a little bit more in depth into how to kind of tackle that and grab a hold of it. So Howard, thank you so much. For those that didn't know, I wanted to plug that in there.
No, it's really nice. Absolutely my pleasure. And the podcast was a blast. And I listened to it back. And, when you're in the moment doing it, you forget everything that was in there. There was a lot in there. I mean, that was a very rich podcast. So it was cool. It was fun.
I love it. So when Mom and I were talking about doing this New Year's Zoom, this is a traditional Zoom or conference call that we do every year to kick off the year. And we want you on because at the end of the podcast, you posed a very great conversation about really going after what you want. And Mom, I want you to kind of lead into this with what your question is, because you knew without a shadow of a doubt that we could expand on this for the team tonight.
I loved Howard. Of course, it was recorded, and I do have a recording of it. And I remember watching your face, and it's though you got this new energy, and you were coming up almost through the camera. And I asked you, why do people say, I've talked to everybody and nobody wants to do the business, or I'm doing everything I can. And we know that that's not really the truth, that they're not all in. And I asked you that, and, you just came back with, well, if they truly believed, then they couldn't help but talk to that person next to them. They couldn't help. So really dive into that a little bit, because, or a whole lot.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what I know. When you're not all in, when you don't believe what you're saying, you're not going to say it. Yeah.
So you can't fool the universe. Creation or creativity or what unfolds for you happens through authentic belief. That's how you accomplish things. So if you don't have the belief behind what you're saying to people, or why you got involved in the company, or why you're out there trying to recruit and sell products and build your distribution networks, it's going to be what I call it a spiritually dead behavior, meaning you're going through the motions, but there's no real creative energy behind the actions that you're taking. So what I was offering on the podcast was for each person to really dig into why they're a part of this company and what it is that inspired them to become a part of this company and get them excited about doing it. Because when you translate that to another person that you're talking to who's never heard you before, that's what they want to hear. You can say words and sounds can come out of your mouth and your body can move, but really what they're feeling, what anybody's feeling, is truth. And if it's not there, then it's not going to transfer. It's not going to have impact. I was mentioning on the podcast too that a lot of people like to make lists and check them off. Oh, I did all these things today. But again, if the energy that goes into that is not from the truest sense of belief and faith in what you're doing, then a whole day's work can be wasted. Whereas an hour of true authenticity and really feeling it. And you guys all know, being entrepreneurs and self-starters, when you really feel it and you're in that energy and you feel it coming through you and you see the responses from people around you, you know what that feels like. So you can't really force something that's not there. It's like when I write, I've been writing this third book and I tried last year to start writing it. And I locked myself in a room and it wasn't ready to come out of me yet until the last few months. And then all of a sudden just poured through me. And I'm just in this whole flow right now. It's the same thing in anything, in your relationships, in business, in any part of life. It has to come from a true belief. Now, from what I know about It Works, and I've worked with people for years in the company, it is one of the funnest, most exciting companies that I've been a part of, because the camaraderie, the teachings, the products, the ability to grow your income, all that excitement, if you're not translating that to people that you meet, how do you expect them to get excited about it? They have to feel that energy, and it has to be authentic. And again, I keep saying this word authentic, but it means that you don't even have to think about the words you're saying because you've lived it. And you don't have to be at a stage where you're on the top level. You can be just excited because you're in the process knowing you're going to get there. And I know everybody on this call has heard testimonies from people in this company who have achieved unbelievable things and changed their life. So you know it's possible. You know that truth. So there's nothing wrong with conveying that in the most exciting, remarkable way ever. And the other thing I think, Pam, that really was a key point that we talked about was this idea that judging someone else's response before you even go up to them. In other words, based on your maybe insecurities or fears or worries, saying why they would already give you a no before you've even went up to them and talked to them, rather than leaving that place completely open, or not even completely open, but even focusing on the best case scenario, which is that person may have been praying to God the night before that some opportunity would come their way where they could raise their kids, take care of their home, and run a business where they could have the opportunity to make a ton of money and meet new people. And because you made a snap judgment out of your fears and insecurities, you never gave that person an opportunity, when that's exactly why you were in that position, why life put you in that position 10 feet away from them, to give them the opportunity to do that. And again, to me, it's a win-win, because if they say no or they're not interested, then you can feel good that you did your job where you were at that moment in giving someone else a life-changing opportunity. And obviously, we know it's a win if they say yes. So either way, you're going to come out of it feeling good. And if this is the same thing that I teach to the professional athletes that I work with, when they have to get vulnerable and they have to try something new to expand their performance, whether a hitter is trying a new technique at bat that he knows he needs to implement to get himself to the next level in batting average or to execute in key situations, I tell them it's a win-win. Because if you don't execute in the situation, you're going to know that you gave it a shot, you tried it, and you didn't die. Like, you went through it, you were okay, and you get the next at bat to make another adjustment on it. And if you execute, then even more better for it. So it's the same thing that I teach at a high level to athletes. So anyway, it was a long answer to a short question, but
I loved it. And so I'm going to pose this question to you that Kaye posed to me, and that is, why do people get to a certain place? Let's talk about financially. You know, they make X amount of dollars. They go up a little higher and then they come back. They go up, they come back, but they stay pretty much at the same level, whether it's rank or dollar amount.
Now that's not all of them, right? That's just most or some, or
I would say that's the biggest question that I've gotten in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a collective consciousness over our teams.
It comes like, it was the first question on tonight's Zoom from the team. It was the first question that was submitted of all the questions. It was the first one, you know?
So
consistent.
Yeah. So, and this is the same thing in sports. Why do some people go to the same level, or in the business people that I work with? Same thing as with entrepreneurs. Everybody's got a comfort zone. And at every moment that we're moving forward to expand, we immediately take an inventory of what it's going to take to do that, how much energy we're going to have to put into it, what it's going to take to maintain it, what the responsibilities will be at certain stages. And we rest in where we're comfortable, maybe not happy, maybe not content, but where it's comfortable. So what can fuel that change is a couple things. First of all, there are going to be some people that are just happy at a certain level, and all the coaching in the world isn't going to make a difference. But I know most of the people on this call, on this Zoom right now, want to know how to get to the next level and expand, or else they wouldn't even be on the call. And what fuels that is a little bit of a deeper answer that comes from self-belief. You have to be able to see a version of yourself that is equal to the person that would be walking across that stage at that new level. You have to see that there's no difference between you and the person that's on that stage, because I guarantee you, everybody that walks across that stage as a top earner in the company started with 0 sales, right? Every single person did. But they had the belief and the grit and the desire to do that, to get to that level. So the only thing that I know that instills will in people is a sense of belief, because most people are limited in what they believe is possible for themselves. The truth is, and of course this is a lot deeper, and a lot of this is backed up in the books, in my coaching, but that everybody has the same infinite potential within them to expand to whatever level, but you have to make the commitment that that's what you want to do, and you have to be willing to go through the ups and downs. Now, why people go to a certain level and then retrench, there is an ebb and flow to life in general, but what you want to do is have the chart go like this, where the ebbs don't quite go as low as you were before, and then you break into a new high. And again, that takes you to have a sense of perspective and appreciation and desire about what the opportunity is in front of you to accomplish, and to take full advantage of that. You have certain times in your life where you can really push through and get somewhere where you'll stay there forever. And I can tell all of you on this call, now is one of those times for each one of you. Don't let this moment pass you by without really taking a look into seeing if you're giving everything you have to getting there, and then respecting how you got there so that you can maintain it.
Great answer. Loved it.
Okay.
You know, when I think back about all the times that I've had the ebb and flows, you know, I think everybody just thinks everything's a rocket ship, and it's not. It is definitely, it was being in a zone of comfort. It was, I'm not sure if I have the energy to move beyond this, or the brain power, or the ability. And it was harder for me when I look back at those times, and I felt worse being complacent.
You know, I just thought of something really important.
Okay.
A lot of times what we build in our minds, this idea that it's going to take a tremendous amount of work and it's going to drain my resources. And it could not be farther from the truth. That's what your ego tries to tell you to keep you in the comfort zone. But once you get into the flow of things and you get there, you look back and people say, how did you do it? How did you do it? And You had your head down. You were so focused. You were so authentic. You were so in the moment every day. You were generating all this incredible divine energy that the universe affords each one of us every single day, that you just made it happen. It sounds, when you say it, it sounds easy. And I'm not saying it's easy in process, but there are moments that it can be hard. But once you get there, here's the beautiful thing. It becomes who you are. So you don't really ever go back once you get there. Now that's who you are. And the energy just beams off of you, and people come to you to help you fulfill it because you have accepted that that's the new version of yourself. Now, what I'm offering you is some really deep and some really powerful ideas about self-identity, and how you really magnify your potential in life. To get to this place, it takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of self-understanding. And obviously that's why I do the work that I do and wrote the books. But so you have to really dig in and be able to see a more expanded version of yourself and walk into it with a certain sort of grace and ease and desire that will keep you there forever. And it will. That's been my experience.
When I call it getting in the flow too. It's like everything's just, the people come, the right ones. It's easy to meet. Everyone's working. You wake up early, you go to bed late. All this energy is flowing through you, just like you're writing your book now. It's just coming out of nowhere. It seems,
exactly,
but in the flow of it, you're feeling it. And I think people miss that. I call that the lustful stage, Howard. People, when they first join, they're so excited and they see endless possibilities. Maybe this is it for me. Maybe this is what I have been praying for. And they've got this surplus of energy and people can feel it. And they're like, people are gravitating towards them quickly. And they're like, oh, I got my customers so easy. I got my and then something happens. They have a hiccup or a thought, or somebody says something, or they hit that money threshold or that rank threshold, and they start doing this.
So that is the old genetics, the old limiting belief that tries to rear up its ugly head and pull you back. And the ego sort of will listen to whatever belief is the strongest at the moment. And if the belief of fear is the strongest, the ego is going to pull you back and say, I don't want to do that meeting. I don't want to, that's not going to work. That's not going to happen. And you start shutting your mind down on what's possible. And the minute you start shutting your mind down on what's possible, you stop taking action towards it. And then the pipeline slows and everything starts to slow down from there. So the idea is to keep your mind open always to the infinite possibilities that truly do exist. One of the magical things about creation is that people think it's just everything you do and all your actions. It's not just that. Divinity has this incredible detection system where it knows what you truly believe about yourself, and it delivers you all the conditions to help you fulfill that. So, life will give you exactly what you believe you're worth, and again, this can be exciting to realize, because when I realize this and I kind of look back at certain things in my life, I'm like, wow, I can see where I've expanded in this area and limited myself in this area. And it was simply a switch of mindset and some self-work that got me to see how incredibly unlimited every area could be if I was willing to face some lies that I have lived, not my fault, part of my genetics, part of my upbringing, part of my personal experiences. Mm-hmm. But if I could learn to release the lies, and fill them with the truth. Now, what comes with that is a lot of love and a lot of self-acceptance, and that may be uncomfortable for a lot of people at first, but it gets comfortable really fast. And then, as they say, well, as it's said in a lot of scripture, everything else will be added unto you when you renew the spirit of your mind. So that's the idea when it comes to expanding in any area of your life. So
why would we, what did you just say about the lies? Why is that uncomfortable?
Because I got to be careful with generalizations,
Okay.
but my experience has shown me in working with thousands of people that around 93 to 95% of the people think from a predominantly negative perspective. And that comes from lines of genetics, and just whether it was people that came out of the war, or people that came out of hard upbringings, or people that came out of psychological problems in families. There's just a lot of, there can be a lot of problems that come through the genetics. And then the upbringing and nurturing maybe wasn't the healthiest. And so there's a limited sense of what the idea of self-appreciation, self-honor, and self-respect is. And then that is lived out. So it's either lived out in dramas in work or in limitations in work. So as you learn more of the truth about yourself, again, we're getting kind of deep with the material here, but okay, why not? When you learn more about the truth of who you really are, when you learn more about how worthy you are and how valuable you are and how much you matter, then what you see as possible for yourself just simply expands, and it becomes a natural outgrowth of what you do to fulfill that. And you have the patience of a saint, because you know, whether it takes a week, a month, or 6 months, I'm going to get there because I believe it. And that's felt by everybody around you.
Patience of a saint. I love that. Wow, Kaye.
Sorry, I didn't mean to drop all this.
This is why we had you on. I mean, this team is ready for this information. You know, this is what, look, if you just know the comments, like, I love this so much. This is so true. Amen. In total tears over here. Oh my gosh. I mean, people are really resonating with what you're saying. This is just what I needed. You know, this year, there's an energy about it coming into this year. I personally did a lot of personal growth last year and have come through so many wonderful moments, and our team is ready. I'm ready, and they know that. And so, Howard, you're a peak performance coach. You also help athletes visualize and get through and break through those barriers that are holding them back from accomplishing so much, you know, and you've got phenomenal experience with this. So in a lot of ways, I was telling Scott how it was relating this to like my old softball days. And I said, you know, and Mom knows this, I didn't let anything get in my way. You know, a base didn't get in my way, a leg didn't get in my way, a ball didn't get in my way, a grass or a fence didn't get in my way. And that's become energetically in my business something that I was missing, that I didn't feel at my core. And it's hard not to relate this to sports, because in order to succeed in sports, you can't let anything get in your way. And so what could you offer this team to really help them take themselves to that next level, as they're obviously asking these questions, but there's also a lot of people on the Zoom tonight, Howard, that are like, oh no, I'm ready. Like, bring it on, you know?
Well, the simple answer is any work you can do to eliminate any negative thought in your head about who you are or what's possible for you is going to expand your belief and faith in yourself. And that's going to be felt by the next person that you go and recruit in business. They're going to feel that energy around you. They're going to feel that sense of, they're going to want that. They're going to want to be around it. They're going to want to be a part of that team because they can feel it. Versus, everybody's had this experience, I'm sure, where you've gone into a appliance store or a used car dealership, and the salesman who's eager to sell is coming off just, I mean, you got to shower off after you talk to them, because it's just, you know what I mean? It's so inauthentic a lot of times. You know, they're doing the best they can, but it's just, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, I got to get away from that energy. Whereas the opposite is, I want to be around that. I want to be part of that, because I feel like that's going to awaken something in me. So embodying that yourself is the best way to build a team, is the best way to bring what you want into fruition. And if you want to know how these people that seemingly just glide through the company and do it, it's because the belief is so strong. There's not any doubt. And they don't care about any no's. They don't care because they're looking at it like, I served my purpose in what I'm supposed to do. And you're not pushing, you're not pressing, and most importantly, this is one everybody should write down, you're not needing. When you know you don't need. When an athlete goes to bat and he needs, he's in trouble. When he knows, he's got big eyes and he can see the pitch coming at him before it leaves the pitcher's hand, and he's ready for it because he's not in need. So there's a whole chapter on that in Time in a Bottle, by the way, a whole chapter on need. So there's these forces that work for us or against us, but it all comes internally and starts from discovering the truth of who you really are, from seeing that your potential is unlimited, and from being willing to at least begin to embody that. You don't have to jump into the pool all at once. You can toe dip and then an ankle and then a thigh and, waist. You can go at your own pace, because for a lot of people, again, if it's so unknown, it can be a little scary, unlimited possibilities. People like boundaries, even if they're painful, they like them. That's why addiction is such a hard thing, because it's known. Even though it's painful, it's known. So to live without that is, I don't know how I'm going to survive. So it's the same thing when you're expanding in any area of your life. But I assure you, you will not only survive, you will thrive. And the truth is that it's ultimately your destiny to that experience. So why waste time? Why not get there now instead
I
of
love that. It's ultimately why waste time? I wasted 5 years worrying about if I said the right things, did the right things, it was, knew all the right answers to the questions. Howard, when I decided I'm either gonna, they're gonna let me wrap them or not. They're gonna either say yes or they're gonna say no. My job is to get up every day and have fun. My job is just to say, hey, would you like to try this product? When that switched up for me and I started having fun with that and just started having like a game of asking, and I knew that we were going to go where we needed to go. I knew we were going to be there because of who we were. Everything changed. Everything changed.
That's awesome. That's really, really good. Yeah.
I'm going to go back and read your chapter on need.
Okay, cool.
Good.
I got one last thing to say.
Okay.
Now I just lost it, so it'll come back. Well, that was weird. The thought came and went.
I'm so glad that happens to you too, Howard.
I got it back. I just sat and it came back. I didn't force it. It came back. Someone's negative response to you, when you know who you are and you feel good about who you are and you know you're not being pushy, but you're truly authentically trying to change someone's life, anybody's negative response does not define you in any way, shape, or form. It has nothing to do with you. So it once you realize that, it'll have no effect. And when you realize it'll have no effect, you'll have no fear in approaching anyone.
When I used to hate that, is this a pyramid thing? I'd get that and I'd go, I'd freak out. And then when I realized, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with that. For what? That's really a dumb question. It's just, they just don't know what I know. They don't know about the industry. So I stopped thinking about it and I never get it again. I started, I'm like,
that's really an interesting point you just made. The minute that you stopped giving that idea attention, it stopped entering your reality, and it didn't, because what you put your attention on has to materialize, or the probabilities shift for it to materialize. So that's really an interesting comment. And I think it's important to what I just said before that. That's really good. Really good.
How do you feel about this? Because I feel like if I'm getting something over and over again, whether it's a thought or belief or they're in my face or they're close or something keeps happening, that there is definitely something within me that believes that. And life is just showing me that. And that.
So
Am I here to gain the wisdom from that and to understand?
It could be that you either have some part of you that believes that, or you're asking a different question, and that is part of the learning to get you there. So that's the way life has found a crack in the cement to get it to you, right?
Okay.
So, so you have to, so again, that's why everything should be looked at as what is the lesson that's it's trying to bring me. And, you know, some of these things can be very emotional. There can be grief involved. There can be a lot of hard things, but I'm going to use the double negative here. Life is never not supporting you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Life is always supporting you.
Right.
In some way, shape, or form. Even in some of the hardest things are the biggest lessons. But it's directly related to what your greatest intention is, or what one of your intentions are. And that's how life works. It brings you the awareness you need. And if you're not listening to a little knock on the door, it pounds a little harder. And if you don't listen to the pound on the door, then it busts the door down with some event.
Are those aha moments, Howard?
Well, they're aha moments if you allow it. If you're looking, see, one of the big switches in life for me was when I realized that life wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. And that allowed me to have a much more mindful perspective going into life. So I was more wide-eyed in a sense of wonder, like, okay, that's interesting. Why did this happen? Why is this, why is this person cutting me off on the freeway? Okay, what am I supposed to learn about that? And then eventually, instead of cutting me off, they now let me in because I learned the lesson. And so I don't need that lesson anymore. I actually get the opposite. And it's happened with so many other things. But yeah, those are the aha moments once you start to see the connection between you and life and how every day life is connecting to you to help you. Now, sometimes it's subtle stuff, smaller stuff. And then sometimes it's really big, powerful stuff. So, some people can go a little crazy and look at everything as a sign. But being mindful, you'll start to see way more coincidences in life. So it's really exciting. It's an exciting part of the journey.
It's like magic. Magic is in the air. That's how I feel about it. It's like, wow, that just happened. So I don't look at it like it's a negative anymore. I look like it was there for me.
Right. And again, I want to be clear. This doesn't mean that some of these events won't cause some emotional pain and unrest. That's part of life because we get connected to things and we grieve. But when we're able to be the witness to our own selves, we're able to learn more of the lesson, see, wow, why is this happening? We're more present. And again, the key to presence is self-awareness, because watch how this works. Self-awareness causes inner peace. Inner peace expands our awareness around us, because when we're not in peace, we're in need from our environment. So we're not seeing anybody else, but what we need out of the moment. So we're so consumed. The extreme of this would be narcissism, right? Someone who's so consumed with need from their environment that they suck all the energy out of it because there's such a need in them to feel validated, alive, or matter. But once we have that peace within us, instead of needing, we're open to see how we can serve, and then we see what a lot more lessons that are there for us. So it's like opening a treasure chest when you come to this state of awareness with yourself. This is way deeper than I thought we were going to get on this call.
It's all right. We're ready for it, obviously, or it wouldn't be here. Yeah. Well, I think we've got a couple more hours here, Kay. What else do you think?
I have one quick question, Howard. This came from the team, so if that's okay. Mm-hmm. But then I know we don't have much longer here. Tips and suggestions. I know this is the topic that we're on, so I'm asking this one. Tips, suggestions on how I can stop my bad habits that are holding me back. I know I'm so capable of being a top leader, but I'm afraid of my success, I guess.
Okay, let's say we've been afraid. Let's not say I am afraid. Remember, when you say I am, you're consecrating that idea to the moment and giving energy to it. So you always want to put it in its truth, which is always past tense. I have been. So I'm sorry, what was the first part of the question? How can I?
Yes. Okay. So tips or suggestions on how I can stop my bad habits. Now, I don't know what they're saying their bad habits are, but the ones that they say are holding them back.
So let's say how can I stop the bad habits I've had? So let's put it in the past. And what'll stop the bad habits is the awareness, A, what the bad habits are. B, asking yourself, do those habits serve me and what my intention is? And this brings to a head, how strong is your intention? In other words, how bad do you really want it? Bad enough to be able to look at the habits and begin to make changes? The truth will be in your actions. If you say this is where you want to go and this is your intention, prove it. Demonstrate that you're willing to go a day being conscious of not falling into the trap of whatever that habit was that was negative or didn't feed your intention. And then be willing to go a day and then a week and then a month until it doesn't exist anymore. So it's pure will, and then the focus on what your intention is and being honest with yourself.
Can people truly change, Howard?
Of course, anybody can change. Anybody. And any moment, in any single moment. Saying that people can't change is the way the ego uses to support giving up. Now, you can't force change. Well, you can't force change on someone else.
Yeah.
You can only inspire them that it's possible and then let them make the decision. But who you can change is yourself. That's where you have 100% control over. And people who say, I can't change, it's a cop-out. It's just a way to not feel bad. When you really don't have to feel bad about anything, but it's a way that the ego uses to avoid pain. Just say, no, I can't change. That's just who I am. Okay.
And Howard, I find in this business a lot of the times, and I'm sure this is life, but our life is surrounded by this business. It's a lot of it has to do with that they're so afraid that their environment will change. Like even their spouse won't like the change in them, or their friends or their family. And so they stay conformed. They stay in this space. But doesn't that always work out for us? Doesn't that I know that it always works out for us in the best way possible, following that truth. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. When you change, people around you tune to who you've been. And when you change, even when you're doing something better for yourself, people get very nervous because they sense the empowerment. They sense the expansion. They sense that there's going to be a greater gap from how they look at themselves and how they look at you. And they're going to feel smaller in your presence, knowing where you're going. And that makes them very nervous. What can help is the simple awareness of that. Now, if it's your spouse, it's really important to communicate that this is for us. We're a team. I'm doing this for us. And that love has to be communicated. That support has to be communicated. It's just part of, depending on the individual and how secure or insecure they are, it's just what's needed to help them join you on this journey. But there will always be people that will try and pull you back to where you were because they don't like the reflection of how they see their own self, and you growing and getting better in their mind only makes them look worse. And so it's an unfortunate negative nature of a lot of human beings. We see it in sports all the time. They love to cheer them on the way up, and as soon as they get to the top, they can't wait to see them ripped down, and it just somehow, for some people that don't have a lot of faith in themselves, makes them feel better. So they call them the haters, right? That's,
so I've gone through that in my personal life with several people. It's just, you can sense it, you can feel it. And it almost makes you at times want to cower back down because you can feel that their insecurity around you. But it doesn't sometimes feel like insecurity, Howard. It feels like you said, like hate, like jealousy. And you don't like that feeling as a person. So sometimes I watch people go backwards in certain situations, and while they're around those certain people.
Go back when they're around people that have done better with themselves, you watch them go backwards?
Yeah, I've watched, and it could be spouse, I've watched them grow, and then the spouse is starting to get upset. So they start to take a step backwards instead of moving through, where, Dave grew with me. At one point, I think that he got very worried Can I keep up with this? And he stepped up. He
Yeah, or
wrote.
what's my role going to be, or what, is she going to need me? I mean, these are deep human fears,
Yes.
right? But again, if you have good communication, you have a good team around you, what I would say to that is, if you have a dream, do not let anybody stop you from it, and be prepared, because they'll be there to try. Do not let them. When I was writing my first book, I cannot tell you how many people told me, oh, it's so hard to get published, so hard. If you don't have a platform, you're not a known author. I just was like this. Boom. I am delivering this material to the market. And whether I have to travel around in my SUV and sell them, door to door, I'll do it. And lo and behold, the largest publisher in the world published the book. I didn't let any of that stop me. And like you, Pam, who handles your success with such grace and such fun and such unpretentiousness and such, it's just, you're welcome. Your home is wide open. It's been amazing, the example that you've set of how you can grow and achieve and dream and accumulate things and be graceful with it and teach people, something about themselves through the process. And so that's been great. I mean, that's the way I would do it, but I would not let anybody stop you from the next level, the next dream. And again, you don't have to jump into the pool all at once, and shoot up to the top level. You can do it 1 month, you get to one level, 3 months later, another level, and you keep getting comfortable and more comfortable. And it's like a snowball that starts to roll downhill. It just picks up momentum.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Anything else, Kaye?
No, I don't. Yeah, could we stand 2 more hours? We could keep talking.
Let me look through the chat here. One thing you said
this in Florida.
I'm going to look through the.
Hey, we just talked about that. That is a conversation we are going to have. So don't you worry about that.
Somebody said, Howard, that when you mentioned in the podcast that every day we're doing the best that we can do, it just made this person just start bawling.
That's awesome.
I think it's such a powerful statement because, again, we're so self-critical.
Yes.
And I look back on some of the things, even raising my children, I did the best that I could do at that moment, or I would have done differently.
Or you would have done it right. That is the self-evident truth. Now, does that mean you can't do something better in the next moment? No. But it's okay. You're learning. Like, there's no, we're all in here learning this journey of life, trying to be the best human beings we can be, trying to, experience the best life we can, and, and shine light wherever we go, hopefully, and be compassionate with people and not judge people. That's the biggest thing, unless you've walked in somebody's shoes, you do not know what they've been through. So don't judge, and don't judge your next customer.
Okay. So I got a new hashtag. Hashtag be like Howard. So, Howard, hashtag be like Howard. Howard, how in the heck did you learn all this? I mean,
we definitely need another 2 hours for that.
Yes. I mean, how can we seriously give us this last conversation? What can we all do to be more compassionate, have more humility, more understanding, non-judgmental, just be a great human being?
It's a very, very attractive energy when it's real. And the path to that is to be less judgmental and more compassionate with yourself, because you understand the truth that you're doing the best you can. And when you start to see that in other human beings, in any situation in the world, you have less judgment, less fear, less anger about it, and you have more compassion towards it. And that energy is really, really powerful, and it can change your world and it can change the world. But the path is through the self. It starts with the self before it expands out into what you experience. Mm-hmm. So, the 3 great things in real estate: location, location, location. Well, on this journey, it's self-awareness, self-awareness, self-awareness.
Beautiful. Wow. Well, I feel good.
You look great.
I feel grateful. Thank you, Howard.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, everybody. Thanks for all the beautiful, amazing comments. You guys are awesome. I have such respect for you guys that are busting your butts, working hard, trying to improve your lives every single day. I'm excited you're part of this incredible family and company. And if I can help anybody privately, let me know. You'll post the
stuff. We'll make sure that where your post, if any of you feel it's worth every amount, whatever, and it's not, Howard is so gracious in his coaching and the cost. If any of you really are ready and feel that you have a strong desire to move forward this year, to really go after those dreams, go contact Howard. It's worth the investment. And you can find him at howardfalco.com. Kaye can post everything. Follow him on Facebook, and go back and listen to my podcast over and over and over again. I mean, if Howard's listening to it and I'm listening to it, I'm getting out of it all day long. Kaye's been listening. So let's just all give it up for Howard, and make sure you go on his Facebook feed tonight and tell him what your aha moment was. Howard, make a post and let them come in on comments and give you what their aha moments have been.
Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot here.
Yay, yes, do that.
Let's see here.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, guys. Let me do a group. I'll do a group picture too. Yeah. I'm going to take this off speaker's view. All right, guys. Team. We're going to do some pics. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let me do one on the next. Oh, there's 4 pages. Hold on. One more. Smile. Yay. One more smile. Yay. And another. Last one. Love it.
Howard, I can't wait for you to meet my grandchildren.
Oh, your grandchildren?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I definitely want to.
They're so full of authentic energy and love, and it's just so fun. It's been so fun.
That's awesome. No, they're beautiful. I see them on social media all the time. They look amazing, and I look forward to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. Great to see all of you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Bye.
You guys have a good night. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye. Happy